What is going on, everybody, and welcome to Lineman Life Live. Today is Wednesday, and we've actually got a little bit of action in the NFL realm today, dealing with, of course, people's opinions, people's perspectives, and we're going to talk about that today because there has been something that is brought up that has been so almost so egregious, and it's thought for someone to put this out into the world. And I'm going to share this with you guys here in a second. Let's see here. This is probably one of the most surprising quotes that I've seen from anybody in regards to wide receivers in the NFL. Wide receivers. This was actually talked about today, and it's trending right now on Twitter. Anthony Treesh on Tyreek Hill saying he really might be the best deep threat in NFL history. Anthony Treesh, that is an Anthony Trash take. And as would have it, this is something that picked up quite fast in the world of football. And honestly, I got to say that there is really not much of a discussion that I can really bring up to support that Tyreek Hill would be the best deep threat in NFL history. I mean, there is a catchphrase that is used specifically because this player, this phenom was so utterly dominant that he was literally catchphrased as a verb for defensive backs who get scored on, who get balls caught on them, who get deep balls caught on them. And it's called getting mossed. And it's called getting mossed because the one guy who actually did it on a regular basis throughout his entire career was a man by the name of Randy Moss. Now, for those of you who are too young to know who Randy Moss is, allow me to introduce him to you. Allow me to introduce you to my man, Randy Moss. Now, this is just a highlight of Randy Moss's highlights of touchdown catches in his career. These are all Mosses. These are all you got mossed catches. And hold on, let me share the audio here so you guys can hear that. But this is a highlight reel that goes on for almost 10 minutes. Almost 10 minutes of wide receiver dominance by Randy Moss. and real quick, before we even go any further into that, let me bring in special guest here who I really, appreciate him coming on to talk about it himself, because I mean, it's kind of like, this is kind of like the item of the day right now in the NFL. We got 5 Point Vids here. 5 Points Vids. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up? What is going down?
Oh man, it's just another day in YouTube world. We're over here talking about this whole Randy Moss, Tyreek Hill situation, and kind of wanted to get your perspective on that and what you think about it. I mean, I know on Twitter it was kind of a consensus, I would believe, but
I like how you describe it as a situation. What situation is this? Is it like where there's a one-car accident and you're trying to figure out who's at fault? Because that's about as much debate as there should be on here. I was actually thinking, I was like, all right, I have to come up with a comparison for Randy Moss, and I really couldn't.
You honestly
can't. Because his length, his speed, his hands. He didn't have the like he didn't have the moves but that, like of someone that was smaller or more agile because of his length and his stride, but he
Yeah.
didn't need to, right? Like he was a great route runner. Like he wasn't as polished, say, on his routes as the guy across the field from him, Chris Carter. But like, as far as someone who could just be as a deep threat, who you would say fly route or fade, go, the only person I could even come close to comparing to Randy, and it's not even a close comparison, is Deshaun Jackson. And that's all I could come up with. Honestly,
Yeah.
I couldn't come up with anybody else. And there have been some great football players.
Deshaun Jackson was probably the only person where because at first I was firmly in, it's Randy Moss. Like there's nobody even in that realm. It's Randy Moss. But if I had to pick somebody who I could say has been dynamic down the field and catching balls and getting open, I would say Deshaun Jackson. But that would still be like Randy's on Earth and Deshaun is on Mars.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's just the next closest planet, but he's not close.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And this was the guy who, literally engraved himself in popular culture with the phrase "you got mossed." And Tyreek Hill is a great athlete. He's shifty. He can get around. He can move around the field from many different parts of the field. But I mean, he's also got a heck of a quarterback. He's got other receivers that are and a great tight end who are all heck of players. These are great players. He's got an arsenal around him. I mean, Randy Moss had Chris Carter, and he had Robert Smith for a little while, but Randy was like triple teamed everywhere he was.
Yeah.
And he still just would get, and he had any quarterback you could think of. He had fucking Brad, what was his name? Johnson?
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson.
He had a cast of characters trying to get him the ball.
And all they did was just throw it. They didn't even pay attention to is he really open? No, but just throw it. It's Randy.
Yeah, Randy should have. I mean, he came this close to winning a ring. I just the only reason that those teams that had him, those Minnesota Vikings teams, didn't win because their defense was awful, right?
They had no D.
Yeah, I think that Cowboys game.
Oh man, that was so disgusting how he
look at him just turn
and he still outran everybody from there. Like what?
How do you turn a hitch into a 76-yard touchdown? It's a hitch. You're expecting 10 yards. And look at him just burn the entire deal. Look at that. Come on now. Throw it up, get it. Him and Culpepper and Moon were just sick together.
Cunningham and Culpepper. Cunningham,
I got my guys confused. My bad.
Is that Jeff George?
Oh my gosh, really? Jeff George is throwing him. If Jeff George is throwing Randy Moss touchdown, then that's how. I forgot he punt return.
Yeah, I remember this.
Goodness. Yeah, because Deshaun has that front end speed. I think if Deshaun and Randy were to run 100-yard dash, I don't know who. Maybe Deshaun outruns him, right?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
But Randy just had skills that will ever be replicated, I don't think, in the NFL. Even someone like Julio Jones that has that size and length has never had that top end speed that Randy has. Played. And Julio is one of my favorites.
His top end speed is serious. In prime Randy, I mean, you knew when he was hitting it because those knees start kicking up. He started kicking those knees up and he's gone.
Yeah. When him went in open space when he caught it and just started taking off, you're like, oh, he's gone. You just knew. It was like him and Dion when they're running at full gate. You're just like, how is that even humanly possible?
Oh my god,
that fast! Oh my gosh! Imagine if you're that fast. If you're Randy Moss.
I mean, look at this. This guy has two people they're draped on him. Jeez.
The hand skill.
The hand skill is stupid.
I could imagine he's got huge hands. Like I
Oh, yeah.
mean, I don't know. You being around other NFL players, like who has had the largest hands that you've ever seen? Like where you're
Oh,
just like,
man.
put that thing away, God.
I mean, it's crazy because I thought I had big hands, but I would be getting around other players. You start seeing that, people have been telling you all your life you got big hands, and then you see this cat and his hands are like almost twice as big as yours.
Frying pan.
But generally it's linemen. It's not necessarily receivers.
Really?
I mean, I've seen a few. I mean, well, look, I was in Jacksonville, so I mean, we're talking receivers,
right?
We're not talking about the cream of the crop. You know what I mean? So,
I don't want to interrupt you, but go back to that clip where if you could rewind it like 15 seconds. I think it was the catch after this. Watch here, right? That's Cole Pepper. Watch him change his body. Look, did you see where his body was going left and he changed back to the right?
Turned his shoulder to the right. Yeah.
How that's sick athleticism. Like he went up looking, he had to look to his left, but turn to the right
and cut it over the shoulder, the shoulder to the right.
That's just, I don't think Deshaun Jackson could do that. I don't think any.
See that speed right there? I don't know if Deshaun Jackson is catching that.
Oh my God!
I mean, he look at him though. He caught a hitch, dude. He caught a bubble screen.
Yeah, bubble screen, got a block, and said, "No, I'm gone."
And just ran in a straight line. Did not even have to avoid anybody.
That poor D-back is like, all right, I'm just gonna give
Samari roll too.
Yeah,
that's Samari roll.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
You know who was as fast though? Percy Harvin was fast. Like
Percy Harvin was fast,
but he didn't have the.
He just had that issue of if you tackle me, I've got a concussion.
Right. He's also a knucklehead. Like I don't think he really cared about football because Randy Moss wanted to catch the ball. He was just like, give me that ball. He wanted to
throw
win.
me the ball.
Yeah,
throw all the time.
I'll jump up and get it. I still can't believe that these Vikings teams didn't even get to a Super Bowl with all that talent. I guess it was the defense that just let them down constantly.
It was some kind of curse, dude. Some kind of curse.
I'm still looking for like AJ Green, no. Like who? Chad Johnson, no. Like Chad Johnson, I love because he had the moves. Like he really wanted to figure out how to get open, but he just is not. No one says you got Johnson, right?
Yeah, nobody says anything but you got mossed.
Right.
Because I mean, look at the DBs. They're just like, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. Imagine you're 5'10 and like 190 or something, whatever a prototypical DB is, right?
Yeah.
5'10, and you've got to cover
5'11, yeah.
Right, you got to cover Randy Moss, and
he's
a play
6'4".
Right,
and you still got to play like football aside from covering him.
Right.
So you can't just pay attention to him the whole time. But what about when they go to him? It's all on you, motherfucker.
Yeah, look at this one-on-one on an island. Just no,
nothing.
And he's looking over at his dude like, you weren't there to help me. Like, where's the help? Where's the safety help? And that's the other thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's the norm. I mean, any DB going against Randy Moss is expecting that he has a safety over the top. I'd be pissed if my safety didn't give me any help.
No,
shoot.
Look at that. Oh, look at that. Everyone he just got right behind. Why would you leave Randy Moss like that? You just can't leave him open.
And then this was 2007 when he just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this was like everybody kind of was like, well, "What does he have left? What does he have left?" I felt like this year was the last year of him in full prime.
He caught 23 touchdowns, I want to say, that year. Their NFL record. He beat Jerry Rice's record of 20 touchdowns. I mean, Brady, look at that team was sick.
Still didn't get a damn ring.
Yeah, well, my Giants had to mess that up. I mean, dude, he did everything he could in the Super Bowl too. He caught a touchdown, put him up late, 14-10, and the defense couldn't hold Eli Manning off. And look at that, he's just pushing people up.
Like what?
The other thing, has there ever been a receiver that, and I think you touched on this, that caused as much gravitational pull as Randy Moss? Like as many, because like
I think you know, from when I was playing, I mean, honestly, dude, I think
Maybe Jones.
I think prime Julio is probably the only player that I've seen that actually required two people to play with him.
What about peak Terrell Owens though? Like,
yeah, but you know the thing about Terrell Owens was always that even though Terrell was like there's something about him that reminds you of Randy Moss and the fact that they're so big and they're fast, and T.O. still at times had problems catching the ball.
You're right. That's the thing. If the ball got to Moss, like if his hands were on it, that was a catch. Like I there's no Randy Moss drop compilation either, right? Like,
yeah, there's no drop compilation from Randy Moss.
Right.
Even in what's like historically thought to be like Terrell Owens' greatest game that he played, which really was that Niners game against Green Bay in the playoffs. When Steve Young, when he was having a terrible game, he dropped multiple balls, he fumbled and turned it over coming out of the half. Like he wasn't having a good game. He's in Dallas. He had there were a couple of big moments when when they were dependent on him to get the first down. I remember specifically a couple I think his last year in Dallas when he dropped like multiple fourth down passes that hit him right in the hands. And, I think that was kind of, for everything that T.O. did great, that was kind of like his only kerfuffle, I would say.
T.O.'s decline happened so quickly too. Like after the sit-ups in the driveway and then just after the Eagles, like he just fell like off a cliff. And like,
yeah,
I mean, I guess it happened, so much wear and tear on your body. Like you just keep getting hit. It's hard to keep getting back up, but T.O. dropped off.
Yeah. I think T.O. kind of dropped off just because again, like when everything else kind of leaves you, when the speed leaves you, when the agility leaves you as a receiver, the only thing that can save you is your hands. And those weren't, that reliable for him.
Yeah.
So, in tough situations, in tough contested passes, T.O. is, it's a 50-50 ball, truly. Like when it was Randy Moss, I mean, shit, dude, we've seen it. It was maybe 10 years in, he's with New England, and he's still just snatching them up like he's in year 3. Like his hands were still there, and his speed was still there, but anything that he had lost, which was basically half a step, his hands were still the Randy hands. He could catch anything.
Yeah.
So it made it hard for people to really see any kind of sharp decline. I think honestly, for me, I don't even count Randy's last year when he was with San Fran. He was just kind of hanging around.
The chat is saying, did you get clipped?
Oh, did YouTube hit it?
Oh no.
Oh shit. For running a freaking edited highlight reel?
Oh no. Did you get
it says I'm live. Hold on.
Okay. No, okay.
A freaking edited highlight reel?
Is this blocked?
No.
Hold on. No, it says it's up. I have it access. You probably just got with it says stream suspended. Are y'all watching this? He's back. It says he's back. Okay.
All
right.
Damn, YouTube.
I know that you can't restream live stuff, but how are you supposed to react to something, right? Like, how are you supposed to comment on something? It says it says you're back. Okay. Maybe they just realized that they were bugging. All right.
Damn. So they just pulling on everything now. I see they've been shutting some people's channels down altogether.
Man, that's what yesterday you couldn't stream. They were probably uploading some secret bot, some watch, in their new terms of service. They were like, you with the 5G, they are now entitled to your thoughts when you're sleeping.
We actually have legal custody over your thought process if you're connected to any kind of 5G connection.
Right.
You're going to have to give us back. You're going to have to edit all of your content that you're planning on making because we're not going to have that. We can't have any cysts in here.
We have evidence that you were agreeing with a Republican, and we cannot allow that, even though it was kind of a valid point. We're just not going to let it slide, okay? We're not down with that.
We're not going to have any conservative talk.
Right.
You do that, you're out of here.
You cannot have discourse. You must drink the Kool-Aid, and if you do not, we will destroy you and your livelihood, because that's how it is.
All your monies.
Yes. Boy, I don't even want to bring up what's going on, the bloodbath that's out there. I hope you're doing well with that, or recovering with all the crypto madness. But
oh my God, you know what? I have not. I stopped looking at it yesterday. I said, you know what? You already decided that money was dead, so just leave it in there. You ain't lost a dime until you sell.
Right.
So just leave it in there. Let's see what happens. Because I mean, I looked at it I think 2 days ago. I looked at it and I was like, "Holy shit, what is going on?"
Now might be the time to buy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the crazy thing. That all markets are almost always counterintuitive. Something as fluid, like what was it 4 years ago or something? Bitcoin suffered a big dip. Like how smart would you have been if you had just thrown back in when that dip happened? Like that's when I got.
That's when I bought mine.
Yeah,
that was like 4 or 5 years ago, like 2016, I think. There was a big dip right after Christmas,
and they were burying Bitcoin. They were saying this is done. No one's ever going to use this. Okay.
Yeah, it had dropped I think 25%.
I want to find out what crypto that they paid the ransomware on the pipeline with, and then buy that. Whatever that was.
Man, that was crazy. So these guys got hacked. I'm sure everybody knows about this, the gas pipeline hack. Which I mean, I didn't notice it here in Atlanta until like 2 days ago when I'm like close to the city and I'm pulling in to get some gas, and it's like unleaded only. And I'm like, whoa, what you mean unleaded only? So I'm like on 5 miles left on my gas tank, and I'm just driving around Buckhead, Atlanta, trying to find a gas station that has premium. Nobody got premium.
Oh, so you have to put premium in that, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I got go ahead.
No, I have a little secret. If you need to fill up with the non-premium, you can do it once. The only thing that happens is like if you do it all the time, it starts to knock a little bit. But I had a Benz and it was premium only. But yeah, you can put in the regular stuff. It'll drive fine. It's not gonna mess up too much.
Dude, I was so terrified, dude. I was like, this is a fucking Audi. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I've heard stories. You put in 1 cup of regular and your shit goes to hell.
Yeah, maybe. With the Benz, I know it can handle it. An Audi, I'm not sure. Audi could cause the pinging. Like
shit
really
shit me.
But, all right. Hey, I got to bounce.
Man. Hey, I appreciate you.
But yeah, if I had to pick a gun to a head, if someone said pick somebody that's close to Randy Moss, I would say Deshaun. Like that one clip of Michael Vick when he throws the ball like 70 yards.
That Washington, that Monday night game.
Yeah, I was up 50 points in fantasy, and my opponent had Michael Vick left. And that was his only player. And
that was the only thing he had to fight with.
I lost my 26 points. I was like, I got this fantasy win. And then I looked at the box score. I was like, God damn it.
Got him.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
All right, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, peace.
Be good. Yep. Later. All right. 5 points vids in here hanging out. I see people in the chat talking about Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, I mean, Calvin Johnson was, I think he was one of those guys too who was an excellent, like huge offensive weapon. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Calvin Johnson on the field. My my second year in the league, we went to Detroit and played Detroit, and he was going against Rasheem Mathis, and him and Rasheem were going at it that game. It was a good matchup. Rasheem was a Pro Bowl cornerback, and obviously Megatron was a Pro Bowl wide receiver, but Megatron was massive. I mean, he was massive. I think he was the first, in being physically in the presence of some of these top tier receivers. I think that Megatron, Calvin Johnson, was the one receiver who I literally was like, he is massive. He is huge. Like, he's bigger than I could have ever imagined. And, he played big. He caught balls very high. And he did a lot of really good work. Not quite the opportunity, I guess, to elevate to the next level with his team, but he's definitely I feel like a Hall of Famer, and he'll be in Canton at some point. But he was one of those guys who we thought would be sort of a Randy Moss like guy, and he was. He's not better, but he's from that kind of receiver tree, that receiver mold, big, lanky. I mean, he's even bigger than big. I mean, Randy was big, Terrell was big, but this dude was big and just like he was like a Megatron. Oh yeah, he is inducted. My bad. Okay. See, I don't keep up with all that stuff all the time, but yeah, Megatron is in the Hall of Fame, which is pretty boss, because I didn't think he'd been retired that long. I think he must have been just 5 years. Now, obviously, there's Jerry Rice as well. I don't think anybody's gonna miss saying that Jerry Rice was definitely a guy who was obviously the GOAT. I mean, we're talking about best wideout to ever play the game, but in specific, we're talking about the best deep threat to ever play the game. And again, I just point to, and I hope that they don't freaking like pull the damn hope they don't pull the damn stream for me showing a clip, YouTube. Damn, YouTube is tripping. But look, these are two Hall of Famers right here. Look how he's doing the Hall of Famer. One-handing him. Give me that. That's Charles Woodson. It didn't really matter. That's getting mossed. All of this is just getting mossed. Damn. Getting mossed. Damn. Getting mossed. Damn. Getting mossed. Damn. And that was Rasheem Mathis there too. Getting mossed. Damn. I mean, this is it. So I guess, it's fair to say that these are guys who we can look at and say, Tyreek, I think that we have yet to really see where we can put him in the echelon of greatness as far as receivers go in NFL history. I think that has yet to be determined. But, we have seen guys like Deshaun Jackson do his thing. We've seen Megatron do his thing. And I mean, these guys are all-time greats at their position to certain, levels. Not everyone is always going to be on the same level when it comes to where they sitting at. But what do you guys think? Who would you say is your personal favorite deep threat? Who would you say is your personal favorite wide receiver? Let's make it a little bit more broad in the NFL. Leave your comments in the chat. See, here we got Bullet Bob Hayes, only guy with a gold medal and a Super Bowl ring. Fair enough. Let me know who you guys think. Let me know who you guys think is your personal favorite as far as wideout all time. And yeah, I think that'll be that's definitely one of those things that comes up that I think everybody loves to kind of drop their 2 cents on it, just because, I mean, we all got our favorites, right? We all got our favorites. Now, another player who I think is actually going to be this is a player who is playing right now, who I think is going to be a huge part of any potential success that this team can have. Jalen Hurts, he's come out and had some comments today that I think are pretty good comments that show where his mind state is in regard to getting the best out of himself on the football field, and setting the mentality for the Philadelphia Eagles to kind of fall behind going into this 2021 season. I see some guys here: Adam Thielen, Terrell Owens. We got another Adam Thielen, Antonio Brown. Ooh. Have you heard people say Antonio Brown has the best 6-year stretch in NFL history? You know, I have not, but usually when somebody says something like that, it comes down to statistics and stats. I mean, stats are good to use, but also there's other variables and nuances that you got to consider as well when you're talking about players and their influence and their effect on the game. But Antonio Brown definitely had he had a stretch where he was balling. He was doing his thing. It's a little bit different now, but definitely he had some good things going for him when he was in Pittsburgh. Steve Smith, somebody who often gets overlooked. But Steve Smith was definitely one of those guys who undersized, but somehow played like he was 6'4", played big, caught balls down the field, caught balls over guys, played physical, had a great ability to make plays. That's a guy who you could put in there as a potential big time deep threat as well, because he was doing his thing too. He was doing his thing. Brandon Marshall, another guy who was a big deep threat. Maybe not the speed necessarily, but he was an excellent red zone wideout. He's a guy you could get the ball to. You could get jump balls to him, and it would be definitely he would be able to give you an advantage there. What's going on here in the chat? We got somebody spamming the chat. Nick Dog 1 Gaming. What's going on? What you doing there? Okay. But yeah, so talking about Jalen Hurts, there's an article here. I'm really not interested in the article, but I do want to take a look at something that he said that I think is good for is definitely good for I watched part of the we'll get to that in a second. The NHL, Alexis. But yes, I did watch a game last night. NHL action last night. The playoffs, man. NHL got some good, it's they was going on it. They was going on it. I can't even let me see. What was the team? What were the teams? It was the late game, the 9 o'clock game. I think that was the Florida, was that Florida Tampa Bay? I don't remember which teams they were. The logos in the NHL are odd to me. They look a little bit different. It was the last game last night. I watched part of it. That's part of it. It was action packed, of course, but I'll get into a little bit more of that before we finish up the stream. See, somebody here says Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman, can he be considered as a Hall of Famer? That's something that I always kind of wondered with the Julian Edelman thing. I always wondered, do people think that he is a Hall of Famer because of the Super Bowl rings or because of his actual season-to-season play? Because he was not necessarily, he wasn't a super dynamic guy in just regular season play. I think that Julian Edelman was definitely a great slot receiver. He's a great utility receiver, but I don't think that he did enough in his regular season play to really, Wild versus the Golden Knights. Yeah. I don't think that he was really dynamic enough in his regular settings to really separate him from the pack and say that he's a Hall of Famer. Is he one of the greatest Patriots of all time? Sure. He should be in their Ring of Honor, first chance he gets to get in. I would say Hall of Famer. I would accept if they gave him the Hall of Fame treatment as a maybe, third or fourth ballot guy, not on his first ballot, not on his second ballot. I don't think that I honestly don't think, I think that would be the only way that would be acceptable to me is because of the Super Bowl rings and the Super Bowl MVP. But if you're talking about his whole game, all things considered, I would say no, he's not a Hall of Famer. I don't think he is. But Jalen Hurts has not been named the starting quarterback as of yet for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that there's going to be healthy competition for that spot come training camp for the starting position at quarterback, although he is the favorite, in my opinion. I think that it would behoove the coaches to not necessarily treat it that way until they see him actually take command. You know what I mean? Like, he's a young guy who got put in there. He got thrown into it last year when obviously the issues with Carson Wentz were going on. They're having troubles with him. But honestly, they really need him to need the team to buy into him before they officially hand him the reins, in my opinion. But he did have a little bit to say when he talked with Jeff McClain. And this was on him not being named the starting QB. He said rent's due every day. And he says that I'm not above competition. And I think that in and of itself says a lot about his mind state that has shown growth since we last saw him in college. Because one of the things that I felt like in college where I didn't really buy into him at Oklahoma was that he had an opportunity after coming in, or I don't know if he had an opportunity. He was in Alabama. He came into the game for Tui Sopa. I'll never say it right. I'm sorry. But he came in the game for Tua, and he actually rallied Alabama, brought them from behind to win the game. And with that, he showed that he had the talent and he had the ability to make a play for that starting position in Alabama. He decided instead to transfer to Oklahoma, went to Oklahoma. They won the Big 12, and then they proceeded to get destroyed once they went up against a team with actual defensive players. And there was some doubt there from people, but I think now with Philadelphia, he's at a very crucial stage. He's in a very, very, very important position, and he's really got to kind of prove that he can lead the team. I don't think that he's necessarily a guy who can't. I just feel like that's how you got to play it when you have a young guy. You got to kind of take it slow. You got to kind of, walk them through, because if you don't, and their head gets too big and he gets overconfident and he starts making mistakes and he starts getting, having issues happen on the field that takes away from his confidence, now you got a problem. So you want to nurture this. You want to nurture it in the right kind of way, nurture his growth as a player, and give him an opportunity to actually take the reins of the team and move forward with it. I think if he can do that in training camp, then, of course, he is a favorite. They're not going to hesitate to name him the starter. But I think that they just want to see that first. I think they just want to see that he can get in the huddle, take control, have the respect. And this is not to say that he doesn't, but he has to have the respect of his teammates, and from there, they can find out if he's going to be the guy for the future. I think he can be the guy for the future. I hope he is, because he's got a heck of a chance. He's got a heck of a chance ahead of him. Eagles also keeping a real close eye on the situation with Deshaun. Deshaun Watson and his situation makes him like poison right now for any NFL team. I think everybody who was interested is kind of pulling back, because even though they're saying that now he's having, they're settling these cases that he has with these women, the reality is that he is going to be touched by the NFL personal conduct policy. And that's where the problem becomes if you want to actually trade for him. You have to, he's not going to play. I mean, this is my guess. He's not playing this season. That's my guess. Because once Roger Goodell gets his chance to kind of put his to have his 2 cents, this is not something that is going to be taken lightly, because this guy has garnered national news over an extended period of time, and anything that's in a negative spotlight like this with the NFL. And I probably shouldn't have a picture of Jalen Hurts on here while I'm talking about Deshaun Watson. But anytime that you are have generated national headlines in the NFL in a negative light for an extended period of time, anytime you've done that, you are now literally in the crosshairs of the commissioner. And that's what Deshaun Watson is. That's what he's in the crosshairs. Just because you haven't heard nothing from Roger Goodell that really is speaking about this doesn't mean they haven't already talked to Deshaun. They haven't already discussed it he hasn't already discussed it with his advisors. The personal conduct policy it's about as straightforward as you can get, as far as knowing that if you are in a situation where you have created a negative kind of energy for your franchise, for the NFL, you're losing games at the very least. At the very least, you're losing games, and at the very worst, you're not playing, the entire football season. And I think that's kind of where Deshaun is now. Look, I will not judge his personal character, because there's a lot of things to be desired when going through these accusations that are put against him. Because what we're seeing right now is that these people weren't looking for justice. If this was truly what they say it was, why there's no investigation going on that I'm aware of criminally, and he is entering mediation to negotiate settlements for civil lawsuits, which for me, I mean, how are we supposed to actually look at that? How are we supposed to look at that? Is this a money grab? Because if your end game was to get justice, then civil lawsuit's not the way to go. You actually need to be going to the police department and having conversations with them and giving them, information, records, data, whatever you may have, to help them get started on an investigation to then discover where they go from there, whether or not they have enough evidence to actually bring criminal charges. To me, it's been totally confusing and totally convoluted that we have only seen civil lawsuits, and this is only played out in the court of public opinion. This has not been something that's even like threatened to go into a criminal proceeding. Like, so it's really like, what else could it be? If he has to settle, what else could it be? So it's there's a lot that's hard to really like understand with what's going on with Deshaun Watson, because there's just not any clear. There's just nothing that's clear in this. There's nothing that's clear. Now, Deshaun has come out and said, yeah, he's done. He's had his, I guess, infidelities with his significant other. But I mean, hey, that is, these are issues that he has to deal with his people. So I'm not really too concerned about all that. Where my concern is that what is the NFL going to do if, one, there are no criminal charges that have been brought against Deshaun Watson, two, he settled all of these issues, all of these civil issues out of court and paid millions. I'm sure he will be paying anywhere from like I would assume he's going to be paying half of whatever his signing bonus was to get to finish this up, to round this up. But with all those things being considered, if he settles with these women and those cases are dead or are dead and gone, what is Roger Goodell going to do? Roger Goodell still has to punish Deshaun Watson for being in this situation, for it being, showing, because of his, I guess, lack of, sound decision making. There is still going to be some kind of punitive decision made by Roger Goodell, and that, to me, that's where I always felt like Roger Goodell had too much power, is that you give him this entire platform to be the arbiter of players' immediate futures. And in some cases, it's not as clear and it's not as black and white as one usually thinks it is when you look at these situations that players deal with. Watson's situation is fishy. Why only this came out when he asked for a trade or release? I mean, that's a good question too. There's the entire question of Deshaun wanting to get out of Houston, refusing to come back to the team, and then literally after like 3 months of this, where he's saying he's not coming back, boom, this drops. So, it is a little bit weird. It's definitely one could even say it's fishy. But here we are. Here we are. Do I think that the Texans in a backhanded way try to do something to, or knew something about this where they tipped off, the media or something like that to this situation, or they knew that this was coming and instead of trying to, protect Deshaun, they completely backed away from him because he had already backed away from the franchise. Hey, I don't know. I don't know whether or not those are the things that happened or not. But what I do know is that with these civil suits being settled, he's still got the piper to pay, and that's where he's going to run into a real problem moving forward. But even with that, the Houston Texans were a done deal. The Houston Texans were a done deal. They were done. They were a done deal when they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, that was it. We all have witnessed this. We all have witnessed how this franchise literally imploded on itself in less than 12 months after that trade. Literally imploded. Head coach gone. GM, did they change their GM too? I think GM gone. Coaching staff definitely was getting rotated. This was really just like the worst case scenario you could have for a franchise. This was the worst case scenario that you could have. You trade away your greatest asset, then you pay your quarterback a shit ton of money. Then your quarterback wants to leave and don't want to play for y'all no more. Then your quarterback gets accused of all kinds of allegations, and now he's going through court cases where he's got to settle with all these people. I mean, they are in the literal abyss of football irrelevancy. They're just not. They just don't have anything anymore. They don't have anything that really lifts the franchise up. They just exist right now, but they're not. It's not a great existence. It's not a great existence. And even with all that, we have this here. We have this here that I'm sure is going to get plenty. Hold on. And I'm sure this is going to get plenty of play for what's going on right now with him. This is Deshaun right now. This is his first social media post since March 16th. Since 1 second. My dad was texting me. Okay. But since March 16th, this is his first social media post since he went radio silent then. And look, we see him, he's doing workouts. And I mean, the guy's a great player. Nobody doubts that. Nobody doubts that he's a great player. He's obviously made he's potentially made some very stupid decisions. And that is going to put him in a bind to the point where if I were him, I honestly would I would not think so hard on whether or not I'm playing in 2021. I really wouldn't if I was him. I wouldn't really view it like that. But, you know, there are teams who still want him, I'm sure. I just think that they're just waiting for the right moment to actually make a play for him if they're going to try and make a play. Because I don't know. I don't think that there's anything Houston can do anymore at this point. I don't think that Houston really wants to even keep him so much as they did maybe before March. I don't think that that's the case for them anymore. I think that now he's in a situation where it's probably best that they get rid of him. And again, his level of talent, he is an elite level quarterback. I mean, if you just looking at his 2020 season alone, the dude had like the best QBR in the NFL on a team that was terrible. He had like the best QBR. He actually had a damn good year last year on a team that was literally a dumpster fire. They were on fire. So I think that there's a market where, you know, a team is going to take that contract and be like, sure, you may not give up as many first round picks as you were going to give up before all this stuff went down, but you're not mad at taking on that $100+ million contract that he got, $150 million, because hey, as long as he's playing and as long as these deals with these women are closed and done, you know, give it a year. People have short memories. Give them a year, they'll be done with it. They'll be done with it, and he'll be able to play the game without any kind of distraction, without being a distraction. And you know, I think you win in the end if you trade for him. I think you win in the end. I don't think Houston. I think Houston's too deep in the hole that trading him would set them back all that much. I mean, they're already pretty far behind the 8 ball. So, you know, it's really a matter of the right team coming along. I mean, if I'm being honest, you look around the NFL, what team could use a Deshaun Watson right now? Well, hey, that's also kind of a hard question to answer because of the NFL draft this year. We saw a lot of good quarterbacks. It was a deep quarterback class, and those guys have all been snatched up by the teams that need quarterbacks. I mean, I guess if you were thinking, I don't know. What do you guys think? What's a team that really, really needs a quarterback right now? I think they all got quarterbacks. If I'm not mistaken. So it's not, we don't know. We really don't know what team is going to stick their neck out there and try and grab them. Let me see. Let me see something. Okay, well, we can and this is today. Okay. Well, let's take a look at this article real quick to kind of round out the stream. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, I think it's debatable whether or not the Raiders actually need a quarterback. Derek Carr is still a good quarterback. It's just that the Raiders are being greedy little bitches and they're trying to go deeper. But really, I don't even think they got the money for that. I don't. But let's take a look at this. The Spun, which I'm not sure. Don't quote me so hard on this website, but let's see. It says here. Let's see. Well, here you go. 3 teams that repeatedly came up in conversations with multiple executives were Washington Football Team, Las Vegas Raiders, and Miami Dolphins as potential destinations for Watson. Lombardo wrote. Matt Lombardo. You know, I'll be honest. I do not understand why there is such a huge backlash against Tua. Tua is a player who has not developed much, and he's not developed at any rate at this point to really be able to like say bust or not. I know that they're talking about some issues in the locker room with this cat and with teammates, but I would say that would not be a wise choice for Miami to get involved in trading away future picks when they're doing such a damn good job right now with the picks that they have, with the draft that they just had, showing that they are competently building a true contender in Miami. If they just are consistent and if these draft picks hit, then they're going to be in a situation where they're going to be contending. They're going to be contending. But Tua is a raw player still. He's going into his second season. He wasn't truly a starter last year until the last half. And really, I just feel like there's no reason to even be considering a quarterback when you have Tua. You need to develop that kid. You need to develop him. You need to build around him, and you'll see him. You'll see his greatness. The kid balled out like he's had flashes, but he was a rookie. Like, let's be real. He's not ready yet. He's going to be ready. Las Vegas Raiders, as I said before, Derek Carr, he's a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback. John Gruden's just not very good at building a team that's not already built. John Gruden is not good at building a franchise into a championship contender unless that franchise was already a championship contender when he got it. So, I think it's more problems than just the quarterback, and I think quarterback is really the least of their problems in Las Vegas. Now, Washington, I actually think that is a great place for Deshaun Watson to go. He's going to have good coaches. He's got Ron Rivera. He's got Jack Del Rio. He's going to have good coaches who are going to have his back, who are going to push him. But he needs to be pushed right now. He needs to be pushed. He needs to be pushed because I feel like nobody will ever question his competitive nature, but I do feel like humility. I feel like there has to be some humility shown for what is going and respect shown for what you've been through in the last so many months, and you need to show that you respect the size of that situation. And you need to put your head down and just play ball if you're allowed to play this season. But I think Washington would be an excellent place for him to go. I think that's probably the best fit. You're going to have some receiving threats. You're going to have good defense. So you're going to be in a position to help push that team over the top and to help push them to a point where they can contend in the NFC East. And this team made it to the playoffs. But I mean, come on. We all know the story of the NFC East in 2020. Hot garbage. Hot garbage. But I think that's probably the best place for Deshaun Watson's future to actually thrive. Houston is a deeply submerged franchise. It's going to take them a long time to get out of that. Don't blow, he doesn't want to blow the prime of his careers there, although he damn near blew his career there. But I think that if he can get to Washington, he's going to be back in business. I think that's a good spot for him. Don't get fooled by, Miami, South Beach, all that. You've been there, done that. Go to a franchise that has a direct need, and they've got veteran coaches that are going to be able to help mold that team into the right kind of team. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on old Deshaun Watson. I really appreciate you guys for being in here. That's going to bring this live stream to an end. Make sure you smash that like button if you haven't already done so, and subscribe to the Observant Lineman if you haven't already done so. I am Uche Waneri, your Observant Lineman. Appreciate you guys for being in here, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next live stream at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, I will catch you all later. Peace.